In this third installment of Is It Just Coincidence, I'll be doing names that have Reese, Reeve, and Reeves in the name. Along with all the other videos I've done, I know it's not always fun to hear the same things used to break things down, but when something applies universally, it applies universally. Moving into this one, I think this is a specific video that a lot of people will be interested in, because none of this is coincidence. And even though some of the things that we experience in our lives are horrible and traumatic, I'm also showing you how beautiful the universe really is when you see it from a higher perspective. Our first entrant is a name people may not know, but a company people know all too well. This man is H.B. Reese, known for the PB Cup, Harry Burnett Reese. Born May 24th, 1879, York County, PA. All right, well, he was a failing milkman who had a family of 16 to support, so he started making milk chocolates. And whether people get it or not, our names always vibrate. And when you say Harry, it's the here active reference upon itself vitally identified. And Burnett, in his first tense, would mean base, underlying, or unit reference, notion expressing plus plus. So it's something to do with the ground, something to do with dirt or brown. The name Burnett itself means brown, dark brown. And then Reese is almost like saying not just receive, but ESE is without two S's, almost like the beginning of the word essence or essential. If you want to re-S something, ESE would be something that you express as a subject of expression. It's not quite is, it's is. So if you wanted to reference something, express that upon itself as a subject expression, it means something that you're hot for, something that you really want, or that you're exuberant about, something fiery. Reese, something you don't only want to receive, but something that has a quality of fiery nature. The reference expressing upon itself a subject expressing, I want it. So if you had somebody who was born on May 24th, which is the expressed center, 1879, which is the reference generated and grouped, identified. He generated and grouped a little lighter brown wafer of peanut butter covered by a darker brown layer of chocolate. And he covered it in an orange package. And his name put all together would be the here active reference vitally identified, Burnett, which means brown, dark brown, with the peanut butter cup. And then Reese means something that is fiery. And the color orange wraps that product. Does it not? There's H.B. Reese. Remove any personal ideas, because I have no offense to any of these people, but their names add up to the character or the thing the universe sees them mostly as. Laura Jean Reese Witherspoon, born March 22nd, the day of sacrifice, 1976. Laura, the as it lies aura, active unit reference active. Jean, intense expressing the active notion in that space expression, sort of a pretty girl, a Laura Jean. And then Reese, that reference expressed upon itself as a subject expression, Witherspoon. Plural identified, plus here expressed reference, subject, potential, ongoing upon itself, notion. So of course she's an actor, but she plays characters that are actually kind of degrading to females. I'm not saying in reality she's that way, but what she's mostly known for, the most popular thing, at least to some degree, is Legally Blonde. So it's not to put anything down, like I said, but if you're a rich person who most people see as pretty and you're a millionaire, wouldn't you say that that's somebody who is Reese, as in a reference expressed upon itself as a subject expressing, with her spoon, as in a silver spoon? Or Witherspoon, not trying to put anything down. That potential ongoing upon itself notion is the idea of that which can mother, poon. So when two people spoon, is that not a subject in place, ongoing upon itself notion? Yeah. And when you spoon something out of there, it's a subject in place that ongoing upon itself can happen notion. A spoon. So if it withers that, wither, spoon, or with her spoon, or withers, poon, they all apply to the character she played. And May 22nd is expressing vitality. 1976 is subject, generated and grouped, form, force, or familiar. So she's playing the character that at whatever time her actress is used or her person is known to the universe, she's going to fit out in a character that does that. An actress who plays a blonde that withers poon or is rich with her spoon. Like I've said, some of this stuff is actually really cute and comical, but we are in basically purgatory, learning that we aren't supposed to live up to our name. We're supposed to see what the world needs and address that first and foremost, above and beyond becoming rich and famous. It's not about what you want to receive or what you want to get. It's about living by the law of nature, the real one, not the man-made one. The next person, Greg Reese from InfoWars. Now, I don't have much on him besides his name, but what is he doing right now? His purpose in life is to generate and group the generated and grouped, reference expressed upon itself, subject express. So he does all kinds of things about info and detailed reports going on in the world because he's generated and grouped Greg, as in when you aggregate or when you generate a reference expressing generated and grouped and then you re-express that subject expression. That's what Greg Reese does. Now let's move into Reeve and Reeves. First, we've got George Reeves, born George Kiefer Brewer. He's the first guy who played Clark Kent Superman back in the 50s. He died by being shot in a place called Benedict Canyon, Los Angeles. Benedict means good dictator. Canyon is a low place. So if he played Superman and died in a low place for good dictators, do you think this is all coincidence? Because it's not. I didn't want to go too deep into that one because that would show you a lot of things about people's death date, and I'm not going to explain that to anyone. But George Kiefer Brewer, January 5th, 1914. George, earthworker, generated and grouped, expressed, ongoing reference, generated and grouped, express. Kiefer, kinetic, expressed upon itself, form, force, or familiar, express reference. And we all know Kiefer's a slang name for marijuana, that which takes you in the air. He's playing Superman. Coincidence? Along with that, the word Kiefer itself has translations of barrel maker or denoted of high quality. So if someone was built of high quality, kinetic expressed upon itself, form expressed reference, of course it makes sense. Brewer, that just means one who brews. They're an earth worker who brews up what? A high quality barrel. Now, how would that make any sense until you see the word Reeves? Because he changed his name from Brewer to Reeves. And the word Reeves, reference expressed upon itself, vital expression. We all know what a reef is. Reference expressed upon itself, form. A reeve is expressed upon itself, vital expression. So if he wants to go around the world and do good, George Reeves. And then his son is Christopher Reeve, without the S, just an E. Even though his father went from Brewer to Reeves, he ended up having Reeve. But before I move into Christopher Reeve, his father, George Reeves, with the S, I want to include that the word Reeve, if you look it up, it says it was an administrative official serving the king or lesser lord in a variety of roles, appointed as a manager of a manor and an overseer of the peasants. When you find out whose middle name Reeve is, it might really make you think that maybe none of this is a coincidence. Like I've said 1,000 times, it isn't. So anyway, George Reeves, with his changed name, born on January 5th, 1914. January is A, activation or active. E is 5, so the expression. You have an active expression. And then 1914 is subject active dia or subject N, subject notion or nature. And if you just thought about it, and if you were going to actively express S then N, it's like building from the bottom up. So if you go by the name Reeves, you could actually see that as an earthworker who is second to the king, realizing, if we're thinking on a higher level, that Superman is more than a human being, but less than God. Do you see how that makes sense? And then, as well as George being the earthworker and Reeve being the reference expressed upon itself, vital expressed subject. to do good for the people in the world. Of course he's going to play a role like that. Now, how about his son, Christopher D'Olier Reeve, with no S, born September 25th, 1952. You have a 25 and a 52. Notice these simple things, but they mean more than they seem. So first, Christopher. I'm sure you can see that the name Christ is right at the beginning of Christopher, and this applies to everyone with Christopher I know, but it has something to do with how they resonate in their life. So first you could just say Christ, ongoing potential here express reference, or constant to itself, or concept here, reference, identified subject, plus ongoing potential here expressed reference. D'Olier, D apostrophe O-L-I-E-R. If you wanted to say D apostrophe O, to and from or dia, the ongoing, the active base identified express reference. So if someone needs help, that's like saying D apostrophe O is like do, and then active base identified expressed reference. So if you had Christopher first, the Christ, ongoing potential here express reference, that which is up in the air, the higher mind, and then to and from dia, apostrophe, ongoing, active base, identified expressed reference. And then you say Reeve, that means reference, expressed, upon itself, vital expression. And across the world, known to the universe, he was a man who played Superman, the Man of Steel. And his birthday is September, which is 9, the identified. 25 is Y, and Y is that vital identity. So if you were the one who identified the vital identity, Superman, and your birthday was subject 5-2, expressed base, so you were the expressed base of a Christ ongoing potential here expressed reference, dia or to and from the ongoing active base identified expressed reference, and then you were the reference expressed upon itself, vital expression to save the day, born on September, the identity of 25, the vital identity, 1952, the subject expressed base, you have Christopher Reeve. And then if I went into even more of it with his own personal life, how he rode equestrian and became paralyzed, then I mentioned that, of course, he played Superman, and the foundation that he started with his wife, the Reeve Foundation, was the Christopher and Dana, D-A-N-A, Dana Foundation. My name always appears somewhere in there when it's something good. The foundation, helping people get off their feet or come up from the ground. There's a lot of symbology to everything. And I'm not just pointing it out as a coincidence. I'm pointing it out because I was told to do this. And this is my responsibility in life, to show you that the magic, the reality, is much more than anyone will ever understand. And when you do understand it, you know how difficult it is to really open the eyes of people who sometimes think they're awake and are only halfway there. So maybe this will wipe some of the sleep out of your eyes. Next is Del Reeves. Many people don't know him because he's from the older generation, but he was a country western singer, and his most famous songs fit his name perfectly. Del, in its most subtle form, would be dia or to and from the ground, expressed as it lies. But his full name, Franklin Delano Reeves, would be a form, force, or familiar, reference, active notion, kinetic, as it lies, identified notion, and then dia or to and from, the expressed active base, active notion ongoing, so a notion ongoing from the ground, and reference expressed upon itself, vital expressed subject. When you take into consideration his popular songs were Girl on the Billboard, The Bells of Southern Belle, the Trucker's Anthem, Looking at the World Through a Windshield, and probably the most popular thing is his Christmas album, Santa's Boy. When I was young, it was my favorite Christmas album. Say Joe, Santa's little shepherd, keeping his eye on the flock. But that was way before I understood and was no longer indoctrinated by the idea of some hocus pocus baby born in a manger or some fat guy in a red suit coming down a chimney. But when I was young and I didn't know what those things actually stood for, I loved it. We all grow up eventually, though. So his birthday, July 14th, 1932. July is 7, generated and grouped. 14th is notion or actively dia. And then 1932 is subject, constant to itself, base. So from the ground, expressing. He sang and played guitar, Franklin Delano Reeves. And all his main songs were about locations. The billboard, the Southern Bells, looking at the world through a windshield. Come on now. These things aren't hard to see if you just simplify your mind from all the overcomplications and realize that this is a beautiful lesson that we're all living through. Of course, since we're on the name Reeves, we can't leave out the world-famous Keanu Reeves. Born Keanu Charles Reeves, September 2nd, 1964. I could say so much about this. Like the title of this series is It Just a Coincidence? I'm telling you that when I had the experience and I saw the other side, I saw the patterns in which information takes form to live out life. I asked how I could explain it, and I'm doing exactly that. Listen deeply and closely to this, and tell me that it doesn't make sense afterwards. This may help you more than some of the other ones did, because it's obvious to see, especially if you know what kind of roles he plays and how he's known as a person in the world. His first name, Keanu, is said to mean a cool breeze, or even more, a cool breeze over the mountains. But that's in Hawaiian. Now, if you don't think of what the word is said to mean, and you go even deeper into the letters, kinetic, expression, active, nature or notion, unit or underlying. He plays Neo, and his other really famous character is John Wick, besides on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but that's a comedy. There's all kinds of cool things about that too, but we don't have the rest of our lives to go way into depth about everybody. But the characters that he plays, such as Neo and John Wick, they vibrate with his first name, obviously, when you hear Keanu and then say Neo. But then when you put John Wick together, you have an N and a W right in the middle together. Between the four-letter word John and the four-letter word Wick, in the center you'd have NW. So you'd have John Wick. So you have Nu and you have Neo. His name's Keanu, which is a kinetic expression, active notion or nature unit. And he plays the guy who's the one in the middle of the matrix. And Charles, his middle name, is said to mean free man or nobleman. But if you go a little closer and you look at the letters again, Charles is the constant or concept here, active reference, as it lies, expressed subject. And if you say it how I always say that, baby language, it would be cha, as in the activation of energy, and then riz, really closely said release. So it's like an active energy release. Does that sound like free man or noble? Yeah, but deeper. And what is he known to do in the world? Keanu Charles Reeves. He's a cool dude, cool breeze, and he always plays a character that's out on his own, doing his own thing. Free man, noble in the world as well. And then Reeves, with an S on the end. The reference expressed upon itself, vital expressed subject. And he's a philanthropist. He wants to help people, but he's not all in everybody's face. He's known to be a cool, laid-back guy, and he plays characters that kick ass. He's Keanu Charles Reeves. And then his birthday is September 2nd, 1964, which would be September, I, or the identified, the 9th month. Second is base, and then 1964 is subject, form, force, or familiar, dia, to and from. And that truly fits with everything about him. To add a little bit more how I say adding a few letters here and there actually changes everything. His middle name, Charles, if you look at that and say energy release, and then if you know the actor Charlton Heston, who plays Moses and Ben-Hur, some of his most known characters, if you wanted to move the whole town, or the whole plus ongoing notion, after the word Charl, because it doesn't have the ES, it's just Charlton, Charlton. It's like saying the energy release of the town, or the energy release of the plus ongoing nature or notion. And he plays Moses, which symbolizes movement of the masses, or to draw in or out. That's what Moses means, movement of the masses. And I'm sorry to go on that, but I'm saying it just to show how there's a connection between what Charles means and what Charlton means. They're different, and they play out in the world. And every single person does this on an everyday basis, along with interactions that they go through on a daily basis that change everything, but they always make sense. So if you just stop doing dumb things, bad reactions won't happen nearly as much. But then when you stop doing it, you got to try to make other people stop making so many bad decisions and allowing bad things. That's the reality of the physical world. You can't go, oh, I'm enlightened and everything's great. I am woke. And then let the rest of the world around you be in turmoil and havoc, because then you really won't be able to enjoy your life. Now your life is watching lost people lying to themselves or not knowing that they're not here. And you're trying to bring them back to nature and reality instead of being so misled. But anyway, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent. I'm sorry about that. That was Keanu Charles Reeves, Neo. I take no pleasure in this next and last entry. I want to make it known that I have no actual things against anyone. I do understand how the universe is playing out through people in a way that no one I've ever met does, even though they've convinced themselves they do. Me saying that probably sounds a certain way to people, but all I've been doing is trying to convince myself that I'm wrong, and I can't. Plus, with the fact that the experience was not only so real that I couldn't think otherwise, if you had been through something so profound, you would know too. I'm not trying to compare to anybody. It is just what it is. So now I want to move into Elon Reeve Musk. I didn't want to do anything about him because I have a very big thing I've been working on for a while. But this guy seems to continue to do new things that stir up a bunch of crap. So it's hard to keep up on. We don't need these people in our lives dictating what we do and controlling the momentum of humanity. It's quite pathetic and sad. Now, first of all, I'm not going to go too much into how this all plays out to the Bible, how they're trying to make Trump look like he's the return of Christ or something. It's ridiculous. If anyone was the return of the Christ, it would be people like me. But it has nothing to do with an individual. And Donald Trump, with his red face, is definitely not a Christ. He's more of the other guy. I've also been working on a very in-depth video called From Bovinity to Divinity. And bovine is earth-related, hooved animals, the herd. What does Donald Trump want to do? He wants to dig down into the ground. Don't we have enough problems? Do we need to dig more holes? Just look at the symbolic nature to all of this. I've already shown how Donald Trump is opposite my name, opposite my birthday. I'm 416, he's 614. 7 years ago when all this happened, I continuously told everybody that every scripture, every word, when it comes down to the profound things, they add up to me. Do you think as an individual that I want that? No, but the universe needs corrected. And when I say corrected, it's not along the lines of what human beings think is right or wrong. It's how the universe works. And it's not about us all being these super high-tuned, healthy, vibrating individuals until we get the shit out of our lives. So first, Elon. I'm not going to go into the extra stuff that I've done in the other video, but Elon, E-L, starting with that, bovinity. If you wanted to go further and you wanted to elongate, just say, expressed as it lies, ongoing notion. His name is to want to go farther, to express as it lies, ongoing notion, to take himself farther. Reeve with no S. If you've noticed, the people with Reeves, with just one simple S on the end, they are people who did things for others. Take the S off, and it's somebody who's doing it for themselves. They can go out in the world and say they're doing all these other things for other people, but who's really benefiting off of Elon Musk other than Elon Musk and people who desire to have something that really isn't natural in the world? Not that all natural things are good, but the most unnatural stuff is destroying us. And we're wasting our time shooting rockets up into the sky when we should be worrying about what we're doing here on Earth. His middle name, Reeve, means second to the king. Do you think this could just be coincidence? When at the same time, in the Bible, Elon means the judge of Israel. What's going on right now in the world? If you can be mature about it, the word Musk actually applies to the scrotum of a deer, which is a hooved animal, and it's their scrotum. So if we want to talk about Baal, balls, stinky balls, Elon Musk means he wants to go farther with stinky balls. I'm not trying to make fun of the guy. But he's ruining a lot of what we as humanity could have as a blessing. And too many of us are sitting back doing nothing about it. I'll just do his straight name. Expressed as a lie's ongoing notion or nature. Reference expressed upon itself, vital expression. Manifest, underlying or unanimous, subject kinetic. He's got the electric cars. He's got the Neuralink. He's got the rockets. This stuff needs to be put to a halt. We need to stop having madmen in the world acting as if they're doing something beneficial for others when they're not. They're increasing the rate of our downfall faster and faster by the day. And if you just think about it, if we think these people are going to make things better by taking over territories, drilling more oil, and chopping down all the trees, we got Mr. Trump, aka nicknamed Timber, might as well be, and we got his right-hand man, Elon, which is the word Noel scrambled. His idea is to use energy to benefit yourself instead of energy to actually benefit others. And then he uses the name Tesla as a disgrace. And if I went into his first son is Nevada Alexander Musk, who died, Nevada Alexander. I'm not trying to sound stupid. D-A on the end, N on the front, middle name Alexander, and he's the one who died. And Elon is E, which is D plus A, 5, which equals E. Daniel has N-I-E-L. Lon is L-O-N. Spin them around and put E and I together, which, yes, would be N, but it's one number off. It's specific. And I'm done trying to sugarcoat it because this is so intense, no one could imagine how much this is to deal with. And I'm not just some punk trying to talk to the world because I think something important about myself. My message is what you need. You don't need me. I don't need this guy. But this guy can actually lead our world to something better. And deep down, we all know that needs to be done. And the wrong people are out there leading the way. So why not come with somebody who actually has you in mind and gives a damn about all of us? That's who I am. I'm going to leave him at that because I have so much more to say about him and I've got it done in another video. So I'm still working on it. All I know is that I'm here for you. Whether or not you take what I'm saying seriously or think that I'm a laughing stock, I love you and I'm doing this for you, whether you get it or not. I've already lost everything in my life. What else could I give besides the truth to people? Whether they like it or not, whether it makes them uncomfortable, whether it's too hard to believe, this is the truth. And creation itself made me responsible to show others this. Until next time, peace and God bless.